Partisanship in Congress has been a big issue lately. Republicans and Democrats seemingly not able to agree on much. That's certainly been the case with some high-profile legislation, such as health care reform. But kind of under the radar, pun intended, there has been agreement between parties on the importance of accurate weather forecasts. Now that's evident because a bill known as the Weather Research and Forecasting Innovation Act of 2017, officially H.R. 353, recently passed both the Senate and the House. Years in the making, the bill aims to improve forecasts of extreme events, both on short time scales, such as hurricanes, and seasonal time scales, such as El Nino. Now, there's a lot in this 97-page bill, much of it guidance from Congress to NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. For example, the bill requires NOAA to establish a program to improve tornado warnings, of which about 70% are currently false alarms. The bill also requires NOAA to use recommendations from social and behavioral scientists to improve its watch and warning system, essentially to find more effective ways to communicate the information. Also under H.R. 353, NOAA has to submit an annual report on the state of its weather computer models. It's well known that the primary long-range American model is less accurate on average than the so-called European model. And NOAA is also encouraged to consider buying weather data from private companies. This could include satellite data, assuming it's more economically feasible with no loss of quality. This bill is actually a revised version of one that passed the Senate in December but died in the House because of a controversial amendment introduced by Florida Senator Bill Nelson that mandated a study of water resources shared among Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, a hot-button, decades-long dispute. In the new Congress, that amendment was removed, but two new and non-controversial provisions were added. One is a requirement for the National Weather Service to identify gaps in Doppler radar coverage and study how those gaps affect forecasts and warnings. For example, there's a known hole in radar coverage that includes Charlotte, North Carolina, the 17th most populous city in the U.S. The second new provision requires NOAA to acquire backups for its two Hurricane Hunter aircraft, a request that only makes sense given their importance. Now, the bill was sponsored by Senator John Thune and Representative Frank Lucas, both Republicans, and had broad co-sponsorship from both political parties, as well as general approval from the private sector and academia. Though the bill authorizes funding for these initiatives, totaling about $150 million per year, it does not authorize new or increased funding. If signed by the President, and there's no reason to think it won't be, it'll be the first major weather legislation enacted since the early 1990s. Stay tuned. Our extended forecast is next.